Planes, trains, and automobiles. Today we're going to be talking about transportation because you're going places with the Spirit of Truth, the one who gives the dreams. So the most common thing that shows up in dreams is cars because it's the most common thing that we drive, our most common way of transportation. Our car represents our life. Take note, is it your current car? That means it's your current life. Is it your past car? Is the revealer of all things showing something that's in your past? Are you driving your car? Are you in control of your life or someone else driving your car? Are you driving someone else's car because you shouldn't be controlling anyone else's life? Maybe you're not 16, or maybe the dreams are of you as a younger child and someone else is driving. You're not responsible enough to drive yet, right? A child isn't old enough to drive, so someone else is responsible for that person's life that's in the car. So you've got to give yourself some grace if the revealer is showing you some things of a past life or of you, maybe in someone else's vehicle. Maybe you're in your friend's vehicle and you're seeing what their life is like. Are they out of control in the car? Are they going all sorts of crazy ways? Are they crashing? You don't want to have a crash in your life in the dream. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a crash in real life. Most of the time, it represents something in your life, right? And you don't want anything to halt you. Planes is another common one in dreams. What type of aircraft carrier is it? Is it a small plane? Are you going to get on a small journey? Aircrafts are from above. They're an ascended way of living. They're a prophetic journey, right? And where does that even come from? Well, prophecy, an ascended way of living, because we're seated in heavenly places. You're able to see from above and view things below, which is a heavenly perspective. So it's a prophetic journey. A small plane means you're just going on a small flight, and that's okay. We all need to do those things. Maybe it's an individual flight for one person. You're going places, right? Individual, and you're going to see from above, from a heavenly perspective, what this journey is all about. And you're going to learn some things. Maybe you're getting on a large aircraft carrier and it's like a commercial flight. Maybe you're going to go on a journey with many others. Maybe it's time for you to sit in that cockpit and you're going to be the pilot, which means you are a leader. You are responsible now. You've been on the journey and now you're moved into a leadership position on this plane. This girl one time had a dream that she was flying an old B-52 bomber plane, and she was flying it and she was saying prayers, and she was an intercessor for this team, and they were just really moving for this one country in prayer and intercession. And the B-52 bomber plane represented her generational gifting because it wasn't of her generation. She was younger than I am, but it was of previous generations. And in fact, the country that she was interceding for was in war. So, it was that kind of thing, but she was equipped and she was the one flying the plane for that journey. It was in her genes. It was in her generational gifting that she could do that. And the prayers were the bombs that were being dropped. It was so good. You might see yourself in the airport trying to board a plane. You've got your ticket in hand, you've got your passport, maybe your ID, and you're ready to go. When you have been given government documents, that means you're authorized by the governing authority to get on that flight. So don't let anything stop you in your dreams. If you're being stopped to get on that plane, it's revealing something stopping you in your life. Maybe you have guards or people that are like, you can't do this. You can't. Do you have anybody in your life speaking negative things, speaking seeds of doubt? And, maybe it's affecting your faith. But you've got the documents in hand. You've been authorized to go on that journey. When you get the mind set renewed, your mind is renewed to step forth and be like, you know what? I don't have to listen to others. I've already been authorized to go on this journey. And maybe you're authorized to fly. We've got to get past some old mindsets sometimes to get where we're going. But he's a good dad, so he gives us help along the way, and he gives us transportation to get there. Maybe it's a jet. Maybe you're going to get there really fast. Boats often represent ministries because Jesus found a couple of disciples hanging out near a boat, and he said, you want to be a fisher of men. Canoes are individual ministry transportations. If you see yourself in a canoe, maybe you're seeing many canoes. Maybe a lot of people are getting launched out there and getting the stuff done. Maybe you see a speedboat. It's a really fast ministry. It's accelerated. It's taken off. Maybe it's a cruise ship. You're going to be on this really big journey. with others. You know, boats are really cool. This one lady had a dream of a rocket ship, right? Have you ever had a dream that you've been launched out of this world? Well, she was. And in fact, she had this dream that she got into this rocket ship, got sent out into another world with a few other people, and came back. And reality, what happened a few weeks later, she got this crazy cool business opportunity. She got launched into a whole nother world. It was really out of this world, but it was an opportunity for her, and she stepped into it. She didn't have to do anything. She was just being obedient, and she stepped into this plan, and it was a whole new world for her. And it was really cool, and it was a really big deal. Hot air balloons, you know, often they're like a basket, right, to carry a few people, and it's carried by the wind of the Holy Spirit, and it's full of air, you know, air, Yahweh, air, things that, you know, the breath, right, that we're carried along. Stairs, escalators, elevators, those are all really good things in dreams. If you see, like, maybe even a ladder. There was a guy named Jacob in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. He fell asleep and he had a dream that he saw this ladder connecting heaven to earth, and he saw angels ascending and descending down it. And he woke up from the dream and he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I didn't even know it. He had an encounter with the Lord with that dream of the ladder, which could also represent stairs in your dream. Maybe you're seeing stairs. This one girl had a dream where she saw Jesus up in the clouds, and he parted the clouds and he put down a ladder over her. She was driving this convertible with no top, and it was in the desert land, and this ladder came down from heaven, and Jesus invited her to come up there. You know, she may have been in the dream, now I'm interpreting, in a barren place in her life, right? It was dry, right? There wasn't much going on in her life, but all of a sudden, because she had no roof, there was an open heaven that came upon her at a certain time in her life, and that ladder was lowered down to her for her to see the King of Kings, Jesus, that was just inviting her like a friend. He was like, hey, I just want you to come up here and see some stuff. I'm inviting you, you know, an invitation from Jesus, from our Father. It's not like a drill sergeant. He doesn't want to just be critical and tell us all these things to do. They are invitations. He's inviting us into a new thing. He's inviting us to see from heavenly perspectives. Crazy, vivid dreams, transportation in your dreams, they're all sent to guide us, because he is a good dad and he wants to guide us on our journey. If you're being stopped in your dreams, maybe you're on an escalator or elevator that doesn't work. Maybe your car stopped in life, and you're having some blockages. That's just the revealer of all things, showing you there's some things that are blocking you, and you just need to go over it with him. Maybe it's revealed in the dream what is blocking you, right? But we'll stick to transportation today, and so you'll want to process that with him. Is there anything hindering you? Are there any words being spoken of doubt over your life that are hindering you from moving forward? Or maybe you're just trying to go to college or something, and maybe you're having some hindrances from people. You can't afford that. You'll never succeed. You know, your daddy has good plans for you, and that's why he guides you, and he sends you help, and he sends you your own chariot and horses. Just like in the Bible, they had transportations. We have our own forms of transportations, and the way that we're transported tells us about what he's doing in our lives. Wagons, maybe you're seeing an old pioneering wagon. That means that you're meant to pioneer, which is a new thing, and you're going to lead it, and you're going to do all these things with him. So I love you. I'm so excited for you about your ways that you're being transported in dreams. Maybe you're just being lifted up and taken to other countries and other places, and that's a whole nother video, friends. So we will talk about that soon. You can write to us at GenZDreamers.com. Send us your dream. You can also go to RebeccaGreen.com, where I'm going to host live prophetic classes, also dream interpretations and sessions. We're going to be doing dreams with each other, and I'm going to teach you how to walk this life, this fun journey, this fun God adventure with Jesus, who comes in many forms: a friend, a counselor, your father, an advocate. However way that you need him, he shows up to you like that. So we're going to be talking about these things. You can go online and get registered for these classes. It's going to be fun with Jesus, because if you're dreaming, it's a wild ride, and it's meant for us to pull into reality, to live it out with him. All right, we'll see you next week. Be blessed.